And I want to ask you this question, Tom. We've been talking with this off the record for a while now. And based off what Vince said, or what Shane said in his initial promo back 2 weeks ago, what he said on Monday night about Vince McMahon being out of touch, the stock dropping, the ratings dropping, this and that, kind of acknowledging things that fans have been criticizing for a long time. And even going beyond that, the Michael Cole interview that he did with AJ Styles a number of weeks ago, saying, the fans are, people, not fans, are quick to criticize the WWE. And things I never thought I would hear on a WWE program. And at one point, that would be hearing Ring of Honor being acknowledged, and we've already kind of gotten to that point, like when Punk dropped his pipe bomb. That was so revolutionary at that time because we had never heard New Japan or Ring of Honor mentioned on a WWE sanctioned program. Now we're hearing things that WWE, their own issues, and they're acknowledging them on their own product. Do you think, Tom, is this a changing of the guard, that they're going to be doing this going forward? They're finally turning a new page and going to be doing this more consistently in the future? Or are they just telling us what we want to hear on the road to WrestleMania and this whole thing with Shane? It's going to be back to the same old status quo following the show of shows.
I feel like we're going to see short-term change that could potentially lead to a long-term gain and change. I don't think that, to be truthfully honest and pull the curtain back, I don't think that Vince will stop producing or directing or having a hand in that, no matter what. I think he's exceptional at what he does, and that would be like replacing Steven Spielberg with, anybody else. Like he does have a talent for producing those shows, but it's the content, not the production, not the execution. It's the content, the arrangement, and the format of the show that people are now getting daunted by. It is a little bit daunting to see the same tropes, some of the same people from the Attitude Era still playing a major role in all of that shared time when younger talent is fresh, ready to go, ready to make an actual impact. No gimmicks and or anything surrounding their characters. They're ready to contribute at a higher level, but it would require major changes to the format, the layout of the show. Is that something that Vince is ultimately going to enjoy producing? Would that be a catalyst for him saying, you know what, I can hand this over to more capable hands that do feel more on the pulse of how this should look and feel and be engaged with our audience? I think above all, no matter what, Vince cares about the longevity of this company. He cares about his family's stake in the company because it is a homegrown company, because there are very few homegrown success stories in this world anymore of people that made an honest buck and turned, especially creative entertainment into a lifetime business and provided jobs to a lot of creative people. He's certainly provided more than enough roadmap for the future. But is he going to step away? Is Shane coming into this company really going to change things? I would like to say yes. I would like to say that if he listens to Stephanie and he listens to his son-in-law, Triple H, enough to put them into legitimate roles in the organization at WWE, the fact that Shane is a legitimate businessman, an accomplished businessman, he certainly is as qualified, if not more qualified, because he has both experiences now. He is a well-rounded, thoughtful business person, and if he can influence his dad and cut through the politics that nobody else can because he's family, and I could imagine Stephanie really drinking the Kool-Aid here and really doing anything that her father sets forth and wanting to just follow that lead because, like I said, he's Steven Spielberg. Why wouldn't you? But if you have someone that's critical, if you have someone that can poke holes in something and will be listened to and can get in your face about it without, a 60-day suspension for grabbing your arm, then I think legitimate change is possible. It's just still the smoke and mirrors, the mystery behind what goes on in that back room, in that back curtain. It's still alluring. All this time throughout being a fan my whole life, you still don't totally know how this stuff works. And I think that what we're going to see going forward is a little bit more of an acknowledgement of what the public's voice is saying. And for them to not do anything about that, which they haven't in so many years, has put them in this spot where they do have to acknowledge that out loud and in front of people instead of just making the right changes. But every year after WrestleMania, Monday, going forward, we get like 3 or 4 Raws in a row where we're like, everything's the best. Things have changed. wow, this is great. And then all of a sudden, like 3 weeks later, you're like, I have no idea what happened. This doesn't make any sense. So I'm hoping that we can go half a year and really make some huge changes. I mean, for me, I would, if Shane were to even just be a facade in charge like the Authority is, I want to see a new intro. I want to see her new music. I want to see a new stage layout. I want to see an entire new vibe to the show that would captivate audiences that are watching things like Lucha Underground, that are watching homegrown entertainment like, you know, your local shows, CZW and things like that, that are, you know, picking up on New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom and seeing the spectacle that is all of the heartfelt indie culture within wrestling. Celebrating all of that, bringing those elements in, that would do a lot to bring in viewers that have given up on the WWE, and I'm not one of them, but I can certainly always advocate for having more support, more eyes on wrestling, because it's just more fun when everybody digs it.
I don't think change in WWE is impossible. I think it begs the question whether Vince or just WWE as an entity on the whole is afraid of change. Because we've been seeing the same stuff. I'm not talking about, you know, feuds and superstars and whatever. I mean, I guess it can be applied to that as well. But, I mean, like you said, the format, the set, the look, the feel of the show has felt the same for a long time. I'm even going beyond the 3-hour mark here. I mean, we've had the HD set for 8 years, going back to 2008. Not much about the show has changed since then. We've gotten a few different theme songs. They've changed up the logo a little bit, but otherwise, you know what it is. I mean, I guess it's good that they know their identity, unlike a TNA or I can't really speak for Ring of Honor. Their branding
has definitely never been better.
Exactly.
All the changes they've made to their logo, A+. But like you were saying, there's no structural changes. A branding facade is not a change.
We need a big change, something huge. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while now, ever since it was announced that Shane McMahon is facing Taker at WrestleMania 32. Wrote an article about it on Tuesday. Regardless of what happens at WrestleMania 32, I don't care if it's a win, loss, ends in a draw, regardless of whether Shane or Taker wins, something needs to change. I mean, I know we joked last week about if Taker loses, he becomes a full-timer again, but something needs to happen.
Still making me laugh.
But I'm just thinking, you know, if Taker wins, great. He's 23-1 at WrestleMania. But
you're hired.
Full time.
Working NXT, main event, superstars, house shows. But regardless, I just think, I don't know, something needs to be different. And like you said, I could not agree more. The weeks coming out of WrestleMania are always great. The last 2 Raws after WrestleMania, I mean, the Raw after WrestleMania is always exciting, but the night after WrestleMania for the past 2 years, my 2 favorite WrestleManias in recent memory, 30 and 31, were great. It felt like we were on the cusp of real change. But crap happens. People get hurt, feuds get abolished, they get scrapped, that blah, 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 and we get the WrestleMania hangover for 3 months. How long did we have John Cena and Rusev matches far removed from WrestleMania? We had it for like another 2 months after the show already concluded. So what I'm trying to say is that I am absolutely in agreement that we need something big happening. I'm not saying, you know, someone needs to cut another pipe bomb or an Austin 316. It would be nice. We need one of those moments where we feel like wrestling is going to change.
And that's the thing. They've been building. Like Shane coming back, that's a moment.
That's a moment, yeah.
Those are those moments where you are caught so off guard, you can't help but have to get your hands on watching that footage and seeing what happened. And that only lasts, especially with the culture we have today, that only lasts for like seconds. You know, and then you're back to grinding on what doesn't work,
yep.
Why, and why this decision, and why this, and why this. And that's why those big sweeping changes level the playing field, set you back to balance and unity, and you can only improve anyone's expectations from there. To just make patchwork here, you know, it's not that they're a sinking ship in any way, you know. All this garbage talk about they need ratings. I'm like, I don't think modern companies do need all of that. Not this company. This company doesn't just make their money by being a television show. That's like so far from the truth of what their enterprise is. Mm-hmm. So to see them, you know, have to. They've even made new television deals with USA Network. They have both their shows on one network 2 days a week, plus the entire WWE network. They're full of content. They are never going anywhere. So they're not a sinking ship. But could they challenge themselves? Could they work as hard as they claim that they work on creating a new creative direction? That's what I want to see them do. And I think it's daring. I think it's frightening for any business to have to make that level of a change. But all signs point to you are stable. Now is the time. If you lose people, then making changes later might not matter.